Get ready, America, for this is the best of Destination Small Town, a Cluck TV production, featuring the shows that have taken Sweet Swine County by storm. The reality hit, The Real Housewives of Sweet Swine County, Sweet Swine's favorite music show, Backstage at the Commune, the tastefully done cooking segment, Cooking It Up with Betty, the always zany soap opera, As the Corn Grows, and of course, the wildly popular talk shows that share what's happening inside and outside Sweet Swine County. Which shows will you be seeing today? Stay tuned and find out right after the break.
The lifestyles led in the small towns and counties of the Midwest are like no other. But we seldom hear about the points of interest and businesses located in these towns. Well, there's one TV station that's made it their mission to make sure the stories of the small towns of the Midwest are told, Cluck TV. That's right, Cluck TV, located in the neighboring county of Sweet Swine. See all the towns that are covered on KLUKTV.com.
This program has been made possible by the Swine Song Commune, where musicians, artists, and hippie types live together and share their passions. To learn more, visit the online magazine at sweetswinescoop.com.
This program is made possible in part by Swine Tales Publication, the proud publisher of Sweet Swine County maps and plat books, now publishing authors from throughout Sweet Swine County. Swinetail Publications is now making plans for their next book tour, and they may be held in these small towns with the release of My Slow Descent from Hollywood to KLUK-TV by Sergio Furlione. Born in Italy, he immigrated to the United States early in his career. With over a dozen films to his credit, Hollywood readily embraced his directional style. Within a year, he was working on a monumental project with some of the top talent in the business. With 2 Oscars for direction under his belt and more than a few starlets on his arm, he experienced an unparalleled degree of success. After his second marriage to the darling of the silver screen ended, he found himself searching for the meaning in life. Then, after a series of unfulfilling love affairs, he met and married the love of his life, only to have happiness slip through his fingers when his wife was forced to enter the witness protection program during their honeymoon in Paris. It was this event that would change his career and his life path forever. Leaving the bright lights of Hollywood behind him, he found himself moving to Sweet Swine County to work as the creative director for a small market station, KLUK-TV. Each of these towns are being considered for a book signing because of the information found on the best source about small towns of the Midwest. To learn about these towns, visit destinationsmalltown.com.
Oh, Abby Appetite here, head reporter for the What's Cooking team. Making a list for my reporters to do stories on about the restaurants, cafes, diners, supper clubs, and bakeries in the small towns of the Midwest. You can see them all on clucktv.com. Hey, let's pick one out and go there together. Remember, you'll be traveling with an appetite. Abby Appetite.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of As the Corn Grows! Today, we join the good citizens of Splithoof as they gather for the Sweet Swine Days picnic.
Of course, I was overjoyed when I was told I would be Grand Marshal of the parade.
So, why did you change your mind?
Well, I was just informed that I would be co-Grand Marshal with that two-timing Clint Johnson, that Casanova.
Two-timing Casanova?
That's right, Wilma. We have a history. So you're just going to have to tell Mr. Johnson he's out and I'm in.
No can do, Miss Thompson. Clem is already in the car. The best I can do is get you a float of your own near the end of the parade, and oh boy, I'll have to scrounge up a new co-grand marshal.
Perfect. Do it. I want to get as much distance between me and that hayseed Romeo as I can get.
Okay, the parade is set to start at 10 minutes, so look for Unit 9 and tell the driver Wilma sent you.
Okay, ta-ta.
What a glorious day for a parade, don't you agree, Charles?
I completely agree. We haven't had one like this in a month of Sundays. In fact, I heard that the crowd from Split Hoof has been here camped out since around midnight in anticipation of this great parade.
Yeah, you know, Charles, I was so happy to hear that Clem Johnson and Betty Thompson were named parade grand marshals. Say, didn't those two used to date?
Right you are, Lola. But I understand that Clem has since proposed to that cute little cashier down at the feed store. So things might be a little bit uncomfortable for Clem.
Oh, Charles, I'm getting the signal that they're starting to roll.
Earl, my goodness, settle down. We're just about ready to start. Your tie's just a mess.
I know, but I'm so nervous. Look at all these people.
Oh, I know. Isn't it wonderful? All these people coming to see you. Come on now, just smile. Oh, gosh, you look like you're gonna get sick.
But I don't know if I can do this.
Oh, for Pete's sake. We're gonna ride on a tractor at 2 miles out in an hour. It'll be simple. Just smile. Wave.
What if I get car sick?
Again, it's only 2 miles an hour. You're not gonna get car sick. That's it. Now wave and smile. Bye.
Okay, let's take this again from the top.
More mileage with saga! You didn't have to slap me.
I had to slap you because I don't know where you were, but you weren't right here with me. Now look at me, watch me. Got it? Okay. Now, every time that float stops, I want you off, shaking hands and kissing babies.
Shaking babies, kissing hands. Shaking babies, kissing hands. Shaking babies, kissing hands. What?
No. Listen, this is very important. Now, I said shaking hands, kissing babies. Got that?
Okay.
Now, under no circumstances do I want you mooning after that Prairie Ann.
I am not mooning after Prairie Ann. I'm dating Harriet. More important, Harriet's dating me.
Oh, but I have seen the way you look at Prairie Ann. Remember, she works for Cousin John.
Oh, well,
and
she
Cousin
is an
John
angel.
supports Earl. She is no angel. Do I need to remind you of the headlines? Ronnie Silage crashes Earl's fundraiser. Do I need to remind you
that was Cousin John. Now, straighten up now. Let's get ready for the parade. Now, pick up that harmonica.
Hi, Aunt Martha. Hi.
Oh, sorry to interrupt, Charles, but I believe our first candidate float is approaching. It appears to be Earl Silo, although he seems to be trying to cover his face with what looks like a brown paper bag.
Oh, that is candidate Earl Silo, Lola. In fact, he's riding on a tractor with a brown paper bag on his head. It's a very strange campaign technique, but then again, the float following his tractor is quite unique as well.
Yes, Charles, the Sweet Swine Commune float is very unusual.
Unusual, Lola? It looked like we are being invaded by hippies or flower children straight out of the 60s, and their sign is upside down.
Yes, indeed it is very colorful, Charles. You know, I've heard rumors that there's a hippie, Garrett Dawson,
look-alike living out at the commune, and that Cousin John has hired him to host a new musical variety show on the Cluck TV.
Well, you heard right, Lola. The look-alike name is Alan Morphew, and his flower child wife, Sarah, has been contracted to be his co-host.
Earl, get that bag off your head. Oh, Clarice, for crying out loud, do something with him.
Earl seems a little bit nervous.
Well, gee, you think? What was your first clue? Him putting that paper bag on his head or dove off the float when Clem Johnson's car backfired?
Poor Earl. I guess he's just not cut out for politics or parades.
Oh, bite your tongue, Minnie. We need Earl to win this election.
Why is that so important?
Well, I need Earl in that mayor's office next spring when I decide to expand my operation onto my father's old farm.
Your father's farm? That's Aunt Ella's farm, and Daisy May thinks she's going to inherit it.
And she better do it soon.
Why? And John, why are you smirking?
Well, let's just say that little Daisy May and I have a little agreement to make.
And passing the viewing stand right now, we have Cousin John, his lovely fiancée, Miss Minnie, and they appear to be holding two brightly colored exotic birds.
Charles, where did those birds come from?
Well, South America would be my guess, Lola, and my notes say that they are Miss Minnie's prize-winning showbirds.
I didn't know that they had showbird competitions, Charles.
Well, apparently they do, Lola, and Miss Minnie's showbirds are champion competitors.
Oh, amazing. But I understand that our cousin John and Aunt Minnie are engaged to be married within the month. Talk about power couples. We all know about Cousin John's enterprises, but my sources tell me that our little Miss Minnie has fallen into a substantial inheritance herself.
I hate to interrupt, Lola, but you're not going to leave this next float for our mayoral candidate, Ronnie P. Silage. It looks like a dollhouse exploded in a craft factory and landed on this float, folks.
Charles, I can truly say I have never, and I mean never, seen anything quite like it.
Yeah, it seems like our Mr. Silage is running a bit of a shock and awe campaign, Lola.
How so, Charles?
Well, last week he crashed his opponent's fundraiser, and today he's in what I can only describe as a multicolored craft float with his campaign manager, Claudine, playing the Gopher Fight song on her harmonica.
Oh dear, it seems that every time the float stops, Mr. Silage is leaping out and trying to kiss babies and shake as many hands as he can before the float takes off again.
Ronnie, get away! Ronnie, get away from me! Oh, Paris.
That strange character must have a crush on you, Prairie Ann. Although, is that Ronnie? Yes,
It is
I thought he
Ronnie.
was dating
No,
your hairstylist.
he is dating my hairstylist, and he's trying to say that I slandered him when I did that profile of
slander.
him in the Daily Board.
I know
Can
what
you believe
slander
that?
is.
Yes, you do
didn't
know what
I
slander
know.
is.
I get it all of the time, Prairie Ann, and I. Good luck thinking you can get Cousin John to
Really?
win that
Really?
court case. Jeez, he owns everything. Do you not understand?
Oh, thanks for sticking up for me, Paris. Thank you.
What do you mean by sticking? Prairie Ann, honey, these are just the facts. I'm not standing up for you.
Oh, I should have known. Oh, anyway, put on your smiley face, honey. Here's the parade.
You know, I have to say, Lola, it looks like this year's Sweet Swine Days Parade is shaping up to be one of the best I've ever attended.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Charles. Hold the presses, folks. Charles, why is superstar Cassidy Davis and co-host Sergio Ferlione walking the parade route, carrying the Cockabur Morning Show sign?
Well, that is a good question, Lola. From the looks of Miss Cassidy's face, she doesn't seem to be too happy. I'd guess that she and Sergio will have a few choice words to say about their lack of a proper float for their boss, Cousin John, come on Monday morning.
Groovy, man. Like, where did all these people come from? I don't know, but I'm digging it. Right on, brother. It's like we're in a dream or something. All of us?
That's far out.
Far out.
I thought you said that Betty Thompson was the co-grand marshal of the parade, Lola. So why is Mrs. Swanson sitting next to Clem?
That's what I said, Charles. But I've just been informed that Mrs. Thompson refused to, and I quote, share the back seat with that two-timer.
Really? Well, then that would explain why Betty's riding in the Cluck TV Cooking It Up with Betty float.
Indeed it does, Charles. And Betty seems to be throwing secret seasoning packets with her likeness on them at the crowd.
We have the Flatland High School Marching Band led by their director, Harold Hinote.
Always a treat, Charles. Always a treat. Look at those young people go.
And it looks like the Split Hoof Posse Color Guard is signaling the end of today's parade, Lola.
Always put the horses at the end of the parade, right, Charles?
Yeah, you are right, Lola. I see that Pa Oakley and the lovely Oakley sisters, Nettie and Nellie, are with us. They're riding their trusted steeds. And it looks like brother Nate Oakley is in the cleanup detail, bringing up the rear.
Well, Charles, this brings to a close another Sweet Swine Days picnic parade.
This has been Charles Kornralt.
And Lola Leftover reporting for Cluck TV. Oh, and don't forget to attend the town hall debate between candidates Earl Silo and Ronnie P. Silage next Tuesday evening at Edie's.
Horns, horses, and hippies. Another great parade ends as the good people of Split Hoof head over to Aunt Ella's farm for the Sweet Swine Days picnic. Will the candidates skip the picnic to gear up for the all-important town hall debate? I guess we'll find out after the break. Get ready, because now you can see a late-night talk show filmed in front of a discerning yet agreeable studio audience. Split Hoof tonight. Cousin John and his incomparable sidekick, Earl Silo, interview a roster of guests who make appearances that you won't want to miss. Now on this station and the web.
Who are these people and what are they doing? Well, they're talk show hosts, tourists, celebrities, and reporters from your neighboring county of Sweet Swine. Yes, I said Sweet Swine County, and they're sharing what they've learned about the businesses and points of interest in the small towns of the Midwest. Learn all that they learned on DestinationSmallTown.com.
This program is made possible in part by Swine Tales Publication, the proud publisher of Sweet Swine County maps and plat books, now publishing authors from throughout Sweet Swine County. Swine Tale Publications is now making plans for their next book tour, and they may be held in these small towns with the release of I Married a Swine by Destiny Disaster. Born in the Bronx, the youngest of 13 children, she learned how to fight for what she wanted at a very tender age. With stars in her eyes and a dream in her heart, she left home at 16 and set out to make it on the Big White Way. Undeterred by the competition, she found herself waiting tables at the Footlight Cafe in order to keep a roof over her head when a chance meeting led to what she believed to be the love of her life. Boy, was she wrong. You can't judge a book by its cover, girls, and this guy's cover was every girl's fantasy. Rich, handsome, funny. That is, until she married the guy. What happened next? Well, you'll just have to buy the book. It's worth every penny in life lessons learned. She got out with her life, and next time she'll have her eyes wide open to what lies beneath. Each of these towns are being considered for a book signing because of the information found on the best source about small towns of the Midwest. To learn about these towns, visit DestinationSmallTown.com.
This program has been made possible by SweetSwineScoop.com, the online magazine that keeps Sweet Swine County citizens informed on what's happening. For if it happens in Sweet Swine County, it's news to us.
Welcome back to As the Corn Grows. Now, we join Clarice as she finds out that Earl has traded his cabin on Swine Lake for, shall we say, a less than spacious travel trailer.
Okay, keep your eyes closed. We're just about there. There.
I'm gonna fall if you don't get me there pretty quick.
No, that's okay. Hang on just a second. Just 10 more seconds. Keep them closed. Ta-da!
Ta-da? Ta-da for what?
Well, isn't she beautiful? I sold my cabin out on the lake and I bought this here deluxe travel trailer that we can stay in during the campaign.
You did what? I take my eyes off of you for 5 seconds and look what you do. Have you lost your ever-loving mind?
Now calm down, let me explain.
Explain? You sold your cabin on the lake to buy this teardrop, and we're going to live in the parking lot of the Piggly Wiggly?
Just give it a chance, Punkin' Doodle.
Don't Punkin' Doodle me. Who'd you sell it to?
To Cousin John. You know, I needed some money to finance my campaign, and well, he promised he'd sell it back to me for a 20% upcharge, whatever that is.
So, you bought this after you sold your cabin on the lake, but you can buy the cabin back for 20% more than you sold it?
Yeah, well, no. After the election, we'll be living in the mayor's mansion over there on Orchard Drive.
This is all my brother's fault. He's the one who talked you into running for mayor. You call Cousin John and you get him to cancel this deal.
No, that's too late. The deal is done. But just come over here a minute and check it out. It's much more roomier than it appears.
Well, it is pretty cozy. Where's the bathroom?
Oh, there isn't any restrooms. But I got to thinking, I'll bet you we can get a couple of those uniforms from the Piggly Wiggly. We can go in and use the employee bathrooms. And besides, this is just temporary. After the election, we'll be living the life of Riley. And you know, one of the first things I'm going to do when I'm the mayor is I'm going to make an official campground over there at Foxtail Hollow.
You know, you're pretty confident that you're going to become the mayor.
I'm running against Ronnie P. Silage.
Well, I suppose I could do this on one condition. You get a hold of Cousin John and tell him that you want to park this at his cabin, and I guess I can sleep in a teardrop until the election.
I can do that. Thank you so much. And besides, after November, you are going to be the prettiest first lady ever of Splithoof.
Now listen, Earl, I'm sorry that your girlfriend thinks that selling me your house out on Swine Lake was a bad deal. You were the one that came to me crying for money that you needed money for that campaign.
Well, yeah, but you were the one that pushed me into running when I just mentioned it.
I did no such thing.
You did too. You said, and I quote, "Mayor, huh? That's not a bad idea." Then you got that starry, faraway look in your eyes that you get every time you're about ready to foreclose on somebody. And then you said, "I'll back you all the way, Earl."
And so what's your point?
My point is, next thing I know, there I am, I've sold my cabin, I've poured every penny into this campaign, and I'm living in a deluxe teardrop camper out in the Piggly Wiggly parking lot.
Listen, Earl, I told you, if you win the election, I'll sell you your house back. That's no problem. Just a little, 20% upcharge. And I'll even make sure that my bank gives you a mortgage at 6%.
Yeah, I ran those numbers by Clarice, and she said I'd been had.
Well, you gonna let your girlfriend run your life?
Well, no, but I kind of like having a steady girlfriend. And besides, she said she'd only agree to this ridiculous plan of mine if I would move the camper out to I guess it'd be your lot out there at the lake.
Well, no problem. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'll only charge you $50 a week.
Charge me?
Well, hey, otherwise you can stay up at Piggly Wiggly if you want.
No. Clarissa's mad enough about this whole thing, but let's just keep that $50 thing between you and me, okay?
Sure thing. Now listen, Earl, have you hired a campaign manager yet?
I guess I didn't know I needed one.
Well, hell, Ronnie's got one already, that Claudine, whatever her name is. They even have a slogan, you get more mileage with silage.
Yeah, I know. They crashed my fundraising party.
Yeah.
And that's not the worst of it. Elmer Plow said that he's planning a town hall debate next week or whatever, and, well, you know how I hate crowds.
Listen, that's all the more reason that we need to get you a campaign manager. Listen, I put some feelers out there to see who might be available and all that. Tell you what, I'll even cover the cost myself.
You will?
Sure. Might be nice to have a friend in the mayor's office.
Wait a minute. What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, well, Earl, we're friends. You and I are friends, and friends help out friends, and friends do things for their friends. Now let's get to work on that campaign slogan.
All right.
$50 a week to camp on his boss's land? Will Earl win the election only to become Cousin John's puppet mayor? Find out next time on As the Corn Grows!
This program has been made possible by Purdue University, Sweet Swine County's Institute of Higher Learning, with 3 classroom trailers that can accommodate up to 9 students each. To learn more, visit sweetswinescoop.com.
Get ready for a website like no other. A website where you will find stories done by reporters, tourists, and celebrities from Sweet Swine County. Yes, I said Sweet Swine County. With nothing happening in their county, they decided to do some stories about the businesses and points of interest located in their neighboring towns and counties. Take a unique look at life inside the small towns of the Midwest by visiting DestinationSmallTown.com.
Get ready, because our culinary expert and, dare we say, wine aficionado beyond belief, Betty Thompson, is preparing some tantalizing dishes for us on her show, Cooking It Up with Betty. In the midst of cooking, our dear old Betty does join her What's Cooking reporters traveling throughout our story country. Now, on this station and the web.
This program is made possible in part by Swine Tales Publication, the proud publisher of Sweet Swine County maps and plat books, now publishing authors from throughout Sweet Swine County. Swinetail Publications is now making plans for their next book tour, and they may be held in these small towns with the release of It's You, Not Me, a guide to breaking up by Paris Ritchie. Born to wealth, Paris Ritchie is one of the most photographed women in the world. Women want to be her, and men fall at her feet. Although her love life is well documented in the tabloids, don't believe everything you read. Paris has had to kick more than a few lovers to the curb for what she calls shenanigans unbecoming of a Paris man. She's just a woman who knows exactly what she wants in a man and what she brings to any relationship. So if an affair ends, it's you, not her. Each of these towns are being considered for a book signing because of the information found on the best source about small towns of the Midwest. To learn about these towns, visit DestinationSmallTown.com.
This program has been made possible by SweetSwineScoop.com, the online magazine that keeps Sweet Swine County citizens informed on what's happening. For if it happens in Sweet Swine County, it's news to us.
Get ready, because just when you thought you'd gotten the cockleburs out of your overalls, they're now on TV. That's right, this is one weed you won't want to pull. The Cocklebur Morning Show, with hosts who deliver a mix of news, entertainment, and information about the communities throughout our story country. Now on this station and the web.